Are you? It's a long time no see situation, and I am super stoked to be here today. We have a lot of exciting information coming for you. At the end of the month, you're going to see some big changes to this group, and we're super excited to talk about it. But I'm not going to share about all that today because we're going to be talking about that the next 2 or 3 weeks. But for today, I just want to tell you there's a lot of really fun things happening in policy around the world. And I'm really glad you're here. If you're here, you care about making better policy. You care about doing that in your own family at home. You care about that in the workplace or in the community. And you want to make a difference in the world. And so I'm so grateful that you follow along with us. And I am so grateful that you're here. And so today, this is going to be one of our big topics. This is one of our keystone, if you will, one of the things that make a difference. And we talk about this all the time, and it's setting messages and how to make sure you have a message that resonates with others. And we're going to talk about that today because if your message matters, and you need to be able to make sure that no matter when you make messages to others, that people actually will hear what you have to say, and you never leave a meeting feeling frustrated ever again. And so for those reasons, we are so glad you're here. Before we get started, if you're here today and you're live on Facebook and you want to come back into the Zoom link, click the link that came to your email and join us over here in the back. We're going to do Q&A at the end. And if I just want to say thank you to people like Nancy and people like Lisa who always catch the replay, can never be here live, but just so grateful that you follow along. And I'm thankful also for my friends like Jason who send people to us, to our group each and every week. That's the best thing you can do to say thank you is invite your friends. So I would love to hear from you in the chat. If you're here today, say message and let us know. And if you're catching on replay, also say message. We will know that you're here. Well, I'm Renee Schulte. I'm a recovering politician and a therapist by trade, and I work in the space of mental health policy. I've been doing this now for a really long time. I really know the law, the rules, all the things. But what it matters to you is I know that the system can be better than it is today. And I know that there are people out there working really hard day in and day out to get you the best access to services and care that they can, and that doesn't always work. And so we're going to be talking today about what kind of things do we need to do to create a message that people can hear us if we're struggling, if we need something changed. How do we talk to people in a way that gets that done? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We created this group for people thinking exactly that. How do we write a message that we can give no matter where we are and that people will hear us? And we're going to teach that to you. It's not that difficult, but as we go through, there's going to be some principles you need to think about, and you're going to have to tighten that message up. A lot of people don't think about this, but when you get in front of somebody who has influence and power to make change, you only typically have a few minutes in which to plead your case. And you need to make sure that when you do that it's memorable, that it's something that is solution focused, and that has something that matters to them, right? And so you don't want to get to that meeting that you've been so wanting and then not know what to ask or not know what to say, or even worse, say something so ridiculous that they don't ever want to meet with you again. We do not want that to be you. So have you ever had that opportunity where you've been waiting and waiting to talk to somebody and you finally got that meeting set up, and maybe you wanted to talk to your boss about a change, about getting a raise and changing how much you make, or having some flexibility in your schedule and being able to work for hybrid or work from home on Fridays. And maybe you want to talk to that city councilman. You've got some issue with your neighbor, with their dog, and you've been trying to make a meeting and it just hasn't happened. Or maybe you need to talk to your legislator. Something has happened in the law that is really bothering you and you want to talk about seeing how can you go about fixing it, right? Well, that time for the meeting comes and you're ready and you think that you want to talk to them and you go, and then, oh man, you forgot to make your ask. Or, oh, I don't even know if we just talked about the weather. I didn't even get to talk about what I wanted to talk about. Or, oh, they just talked the whole time and I didn't get to say anything, right? Or maybe you felt like you just got blown off or even ignored, right? We've been in meetings like that. All of us have. So how do you do that? You don't want to be in a meeting that's real important to you, that you got there to talk to your boss and you wanted to make a change, and then you started talking about the weather, your kids and whatever, and then you left and you didn't even make the ask of what you needed. You don't want that. That's not something that you need in your life, right? So how do you make the changes that you need? Think about, like, how can I say things in a way that make the change that I need in my world? right? That's what we're going to talk about exactly right now. There's going to be 6 steps that we're talking about so that you resonate your message and that people want to talk to you, that people want to hear what you have to say, that people are excited to see you when you come to talk to them. And you want to make sure, like, how do you talk in a way that they want to hear from you again, right? That's a really big deal. Wouldn't you want to be the expert on your topic so that when a legislator or city councilman needs more information, they think of you to call again? That'd be an awesome place to be. So there's 6 steps that we talk about to get there. And we're going to kind of just walk through these steps. There is a tool that we can get to you. And if you need that tool, just make a comment today in the chat or off after you watch the replay. Say that you want to get that tool, and we'll get that right out to you, because just let us know that that's something that you want and we'll get it into your hands, because there are 6 big steps that you take in order to make a message that resonates so that you never leave a meeting feeling unheard again. That is the worst. So the first thing that you have to do, step number 1, is we create an opening that resonates with your audience. So hopefully before you go to a meeting with somebody, you've done a little bit of background research on that person. Who are they? Who are you trying to talk to? Why are you talking to them? Hopefully you've picked somebody that has some kind of influence or sway in a space that you need changed, right? You don't just go talk to a coworker about, getting a raise, or go about, getting a day off on Friday. You have to talk to your manager or your supervisor or HR or the boss, somebody that can make that change. That's who you're talking to here. And hopefully you've done some research and know who the right person is to talk to. That's before you even get to step 1. But then when you get there, what are you going to say to them? What are you going to say that is memorable, that makes that connection, right? Think about, what is that? A really short opening statement. So for example, if you're in a community and you're talking to your city councilman, you may say, hey, I'm one of your constituents. I live on the corner of blank and blank, and I voted for you, right? That's an opening statement. You can say that to anybody that's elected. Or if it's a school board member and you're talking about something at school, is, hey, I have a kid that's such and such age and they're in so-and-so's classroom. And so I'm here to chat with you about this issue, right? So you're trying to make that, why are we talking to the person? The second thing that you do is you present your problem. You want to talk about your problem, but not in a way that's like overwhelming, not in a way that people don't understand what you're talking about, or it's just so much. You don't want that flood of a problem, right? You want to have it fairly succinct. What's the issue? And again, a little research hopefully will help you with this. What's the problem, right? So one of the issues, let me think of, we're working on several different projects right now, but there's one where a law is like, they need this evaluation done in 6 hours. And that's causing problems for people getting access to a service because you just can't get it done in that short length of time. So that's a conversation I need to have with people who can make a change about, well, why is it 6 hours? Why can't it be 24 hours? Or why can't it be 2 days, right? You got to know what the problem is and state it fairly succinctly. Now, here's where I'd like to give a warning. If you have a problem that is really raw to you and that it's really new, and you're going to be really upset about it, and you're crying about it, you're kind of bleeding all over others, that may not be the problem to talk about today. That may be a story for another day when you get a little more healed, a little more put together, so that you can say that in a way, still has emotion, still is real, but that doesn't make the hearer feel so uncomfortable they don't know what to do. Sometimes things are so raw, so real, that when we start speaking, we kind of hurt other people in that mess, and we don't think about it, but then they don't know what to do to help us. And they kind of distance themselves and walk away. Should that be the way it is? No. Should people be able to have empathy in our darkest days? Yes. But does everybody have that skill? Absolutely not. So making sure that you are talking about something that you can really get through. It's okay to have emotion. It's okay to have tears, but to be able to speak in a way that keeps you grounded, that your message is really important. So that's step 2. We're connected, and now we're presenting the problem. The third thing that we do is we provide some facts, maybe some data about the issue you want to talk about. So if the issue is that you want to access care or services someplace, the wait list is 6 weeks long, 6 months long, whatever. That's the issue. You can give data on that. It's like, it takes this long to get into that service. I need access to this, my medication runs out at this point and I can't even get in for this many more weeks, right? That's a clear problem with some clear data, some clear information. If you're talking about issues with the city, how many other people also have this issue, right? If it's a challenge on your street, but everybody's having flooding in their basement and there's 5 of you in a row, that information is very useful to the person trying to make the changes, right? They need to know it's more than you, not just you. Not that an issue can't be fixed just for you, but there's more likely to get a coalition of people who want to make change if more people are impacted. That's just how it is. So now you've provided facts, right? You've made that connection. We've gave them the problem. We provided facts. And now you want to give a story or an example of the problem. And this needs to be short and tight. We don't want to tell stories that go all over the place. We don't want to go bleeding on people like we talked about before, but you need to make an impact. Why does it matter to you? Why does the length of time to get into an appointment for access matter to you? And maybe it really is because medications have run out. And when medications run out, these things happen. You tell that story. Or it's taken this long of time to get consistent on medication. And so when the medicines run out, these are the side effects. These are the things that happen. And so this is why there's such a problem. You see what I'm saying? You connect it to a greater story that is memorable for somebody to remember. So you've connected, you've shared the problem, you've stated your facts, you've shared a brief story, and then you want to connect to the person. Why do they care about this? Right? Everybody in the world has a big topic that's in their head. It's a radio station, WIFM. I always get that wrong. What's in it for me? WIIFM. What's in it for me? Yeah. And when you're thinking about it, most people are tuned into themselves all the time. So what's in it for the other person? When you're telling somebody there's a problem, you need to share with them. So if it's an elected official, they need to hear that this is the number of people impacted by this issue. These are the groups of people that are impacted. These are the people being harmed by this bad decision, or these are the people that are struggling, or, hey, we can't get anybody into that program because the expectations are so tight, nobody qualifies. So all the beds are sitting empty. And that happens sometimes, right? We complain we don't have enough beds, but then in places we do have beds, the criteria is so strict, nobody gets access. Well, that's not really access. If beds exist, but they exist empty, still no access, right? That's a big deal. So how do we talk about that in a way that matters, right? So we connect it to the person. And then number 6, and most important, make your ask. What is the solution you're proposing? Now, you may not be 100% correct in your solution, and your solution may not even be possible, but you need to make an ask. What do you want them to do? People forget that people that are elected or people in influence and power are people too. And most of the time they're in those kind of roles because they want to help people. People don't run for office to not help people. That's not what they're trying to do. But if you just dump all the problem and have no solutions or suggestions or ideas, that person may walk around feeling completely overwhelmed. I have no idea what to do. There's no way I can help this. And that's not going to make them want to talk to you more. That's not going to make them want to share, with you other issues or talk to you about solutions. They're just going to feel overwhelmed and then not really want to come back. That's not the point you're going for. So pitch something, pitch an idea. What can we do to shorten time? Like some of the things we've done in Iowa to shorten wait times for appointments is using telehealth, expanding our scope of who can do services. We're doing lots of things to try to shorten those windows. Now, is it better? Is it 100% where we want it to be? No way. But we're making improvements. And legislators are voting year in and year out on these things to make improvements. And that's because there's solutions attached to these issues. So if you want the tool that we're talking about, because there's those 6 steps, right? We connect, we present our problem, we talk about the facts, we share a story, then we connect with them. Why does it matter to them? The what's in it for me? And then we give them an ask. If you want a tool that you can kind of work through this document, put tool in the chat and we'll make sure to get that out to you today. As I stated, in the next couple of weeks, you're going to hear big changes coming to this group and some even more exciting changes about what I'm up to working in Rural Policy Partners. And so can't wait to share with you. I hope to see you again next time. We will see you then.